All right, we
All
are
right.
live. Happy
Hello.
Saturday, everyone. Hey, Camille.
Hi. How are you? Let me stream this to my audience.
All
Guys, we are
right,
so sorry. We're running
just
a
a
little
little
bit
late.
behind. We have some technical difficulties.
Yeah. All right, y'all. It's me, your favorite pimp, Ty, and I have my favorite co-host here, Miss Camille Harris, and we are continuing our series where we talk about the power of change management and project management coming together, right? They are playing together. So today's topic, Camille, is all about where the magic happens, where the strategic
Right.
alignment is between PM and CM. So that's what we're going to jump into today. Um,
Okay.
so let's talk about our first little point, right? And I think it is very apropos on why culture eats strategy for breakfast, right? Why,
Right.
even when you have the most detailed project plan, can a project still go off the rails, right? So I'll let you touch on that a little bit.
Sure. They say that culture beats strategy. And there I was listening to this book, The Psychology of Money, and what the author said was that um, emotions beat data. So
Mm,
to me, what that's really saying is that no matter how crisp the strategy is, the culture and emotions is what drive, that organization.
yep.
So when we are looking at building strategy, it only makes sense that we look at those culture pieces. We need to assess the culture and see what are some of those aspects we can put into our strategy. And Ty, you and I talk about even when it comes to like union environment,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Yes, because and Ty, you can touch on that some more because within those environments, of course, there's a certain culture and there's ways that we have to go around making these changes. So I feel like it would be a big arrow for when we are putting our project strategy together that we are not considering those type of factors.
Yeah, I feel like when it comes to project management and change management, I think they have to be holistic, right? So even when we come in, so we talked about last week coming in together in the beginning of the project, right? So part of our assessment needs to actually be what the current culture is of that
Right.
environment. So I know for me, working in public sector, a lot of times people are afraid of change because they've been around for a long time and they're afraid that this new change, whatever it might be, will eliminate their need, and that's where your resistance come in, and that's where your strategy needs to start, right? So we need to actually take all of those things into account, and if we don't do that very quickly, then that's a recipe for disaster. So, Camille, I
Right.
just want to recognize Mr. Justin. He says he's from the great state of Texas, so that's where you
Hi,
are.
Mr. Justin. Where in Texas are you? I am over here in the DFW area.
Let's see if he's going to answer back. Thank you, Justin, for being here
Thank
and
you,
for
Justin. But
attending. We appreciate you.
Ty, what you just said, it reminds me, and I'm gonna tell a little story of when it
Okay.
comes to this culture eat strategy for breakfast. I was working on a project, it's a manufacturing project, and the organization had only one person managing like procurement. It was a very small team, and then she got someone else. She
Yep.
was there for 20 something years, and all she's accustomed to is Excel and spreadsheet, but they're coming in now with this new ERP. I believe it
Yep.
was S4 HANA. And it was because I had that conversation with her and I learned that this lady was planning on
Yeah.
retiring. And there was nothing that set up in place, like if anything happened to her or all those things, that the business would continue. So that's one of those things that we have to even consider, like those, like you said, people that's been at an organization for a while. And I see Justin answer us. He said he's 50. Oh, past McKinney. I know where that is, Justin. I know where that. I'm like 25 minutes from downtown, like past that Mesquite area.
Jealous of all the Texas people. We love Texas. Shout out to
Texas in the
Texas.
house.
Yes, I do agree. And just to kind of get back to what you were speaking about with the unions and everything, that
Mhm.
is so very important that again that we take those things into consideration at the very beginning, whether it's a union, whether it's a bargaining agreement, whatever it is, those things are very in inbred, I guess, in the culture. And we have to take those things in consideration. Again, it's very early on. And for me, I just feel like you can't fix anyone's culture with a solution or another system until
Yeah,
you actually go about like looking strategically about how you align that new system, that new solution with their culture, right? So I think
right.
it has to all be aligned.
Ty, can you give us some examples of how you assess the organizational culture?
Yeah, so starting off with your stakeholders, right? So your executive stakeholders, I feel like any project that you embark upon, you have to have your stakeholders, your executive stakeholders involved from the beginning to the middle, all the way to the end,
Mhm.
and then once it goes live. So getting their feedback and then also involving the people at the bottom, and I hate to say it like that, but the frontline workers, that's what I'll
Yeah,
say.
it's
And
true.
actually getting their feels for this new change, what the culture is, because they'll give you the real deal all day,
Mhm.
every day. And
Right,
not only are they giving you the real deal, you're also building a connection and a relationship with them, and they help to lead and champion that project down the road as well, because now
right,
they're excited that we've included them, that we've thought about them, and that they weren't
right,
left out.
right. You know, um, in in my book, I talk about a little bit about those underground
Mm,
influencers, and not necessarily someone that might be a leader on that org chart. That doesn't necessarily mean that individual have a lot of influence.
right.
So it's like you said, it's important, like when we're doing our stakeholder analysis, we look at that impact versus influence and see how we're going to really just activate and communicate to individuals based on that quadrant where
Hmm.
they are at. And I always find it, like you said, it's some of those individuals, once you identify who has those most impact, the people with boots on the ground, when we do those
Yes,
interviews, we are able to really understand the culture current state. And it's important that we communicate as well what are some of those things that are not changing, even when we're saying, okay, this is what changing. So
that's
people
right.
can have a sense of relief that, okay, not everything about my organization or how the culture of my organization is being changed. And we can even really position it in a way to say that we are expanding on the culture versus changing
Right,
the culture.
right.
Yeah.
Exactly. I totally agree. So I think Justin was saying it there. Oh, okay. Okay. Read his comment, Camille, so that we can.
Yeah, he said, FYI, there's a significant delay between the comments and the videos, just for the other folks on the live to pay attention. Um, these are great pieces of advice. I can see the rest of that. You too, defining and identifying. Thank you, Justin. Thank you.
I
Justin,
think it's
can I ask you, what capacity do you work in? Are you on the change management side or the project management side? And we might have to wait a little because Justin said
yeah.
there's a little delay.
Yeah. And I think he asked the question, how are you defining and identifying the culture? And I think we just
Okay.
went into that a little bit. And hopefully
Mhm.
we answered that question for him. But if not, Justin, just let us know.
Mhm.
So, Camille, let's talk about the next point that we have. What happens, right? Because we know it happens when there are real life breakdowns between CM and PM, right? When they are on the line, what happens? I think we might have a war story, if nothing else.
There's so many. Oh my gosh. Do you want to take this one? I don't know where to start. What
um,
happens, Ty?
So when they aren't aligned, what you actually see, and I'll allow you to kind of hop in as well. But what we're actually experiencing right now in real life is that people don't know what's happening with the project
Mhm.
outside of the project team. So that is a huge risk for the project. It's going to affect the entire enterprise, and because of that, we needed to, be boots on the ground early on. And boots still are not on the ground, unfortunately. Um, and we see a disconnect between the teams. We see a disconnect between their understanding, and we see a disconnect between um, getting this project to the finish line, right? From our perspective, technologically, it might be able to go live, but on the people side, I feel like anytime that change management is not aligned with project management, the only thing that's going to happen at the end of the project is that people are going to learn somehow to circumnavigate the system that we are
Yeah.
implementing. And that's a waste of time, it's a waste of money, it's a waste of resources. So I would say that's what, a real life breakdown between the two when they aren't aligned.
Mhm. And when they are not aligned, there's so much risk. There's risk to operations.
Hmm.
There is risk to productivity because you know, and when I say align, what that looks like, and I think about what that looks like for me, is we have that, and like Justin, he's a program manager type. We
Yeah,
have
okay.
on, that program plan, right, Justin? And we want to ensure that we are really embedding those change management elements along the way. And that
Yes.
goes back again to when we create our stakeholder analysis and we look at our communication plan, who we communicate to, what often we communicate to them, and the what's in it for me. So it depends on the project. Like I always said, if it's an agile project and things are being constantly rolled out to end users, we want to ensure that we are embedding those awareness and those adoption along the way. So it's always best to really just strategize and collaborate with that change practitioner to bring that to fruition.
Yeah. So I think that takes us to the next point about the importance of us planning together, right? The
Mhm.
joint planning, just making sure that we aren't just trying to push out timelines, but we are reflecting that there's readiness across the organization, right? And I feel like if PM and CM stays aligned and there's a whole section in the project management schedule for change management, then we're not just pushing deadlines. We are ensuring that people are ready for the change. The communication
Yeah.
is in place, the training is ready to go. We have taken a look at, the whole organizational structure together, and I feel like it's the collaboration that really drives the success of the project.
Right. I always say that start from backwards, define what readiness looks like, and work backwards from that angle. It's important that when we're doing our discovery and our planning, I'm talking about the project team, that you also have change management as part of that. I feel like the issue comes because some um, PMO office, or they don't see the value of change management, or they might
Yeah,
think, oh, this is a person that does communication and training, or
right.
they're not even sure what we do. So what has worked for me is early on to develop credibility.
Mm-hmm.
You know, have a meeting with your project team and let them know how you can help them. Let them
Mm.
you know, walk through those different timelines together and give them suggestions. You don't want, you want to come up, you want to be for your project team an advisor. You don't want to just show up to the meetings and wait on someone to tell you what to do. You have to really push those push your value, you know, push those areas where you can help that project team. And I cannot stress it enough how important in the beginning of a project those in-person meetings are.
Yeah.
I feel like when there's a lack of credibility for CM in the beginning, it breaks it breaks things down in the project. It
Yeah.
really does.
Yeah.
And for most project team, if you're able to communicate that value, if you're able to show them where you can help them, if you are showing up to these meetings prepared and making suggestions, they are going to see the value of working together. And then
Right.
you guys can build strategy. And it's always important that you do check-ins, right?
Yeah.
Another tip that I have is if you have a business analyst, utilize that business analyst as well,
Oh, yes.
right?
Yes. So important to capture that the current state, right? So not only do we want to look into the future, but we have to know what's happening. And a lot of people, Camille, don't believe in the importance of capturing current state before we start moving into the future. I
Right,
really don't feel like there is any way without a great business analyst to really implement a powerful system, right?
right.
Without knowing what we're doing now and how exactly we're going to change it, because you leave so many things out. People are left out, and then that's again where you fall out of alignment with your organization.
Ty, let's shout out Cara
Hey,
Willis. Thank you,
Cara.
Cara.
That's my friend. Hey,
This is
girl.
great.
She has a
And
community too, and she's really awesome. She does a great job. So,
oh, I
and
love
we
that.
have
And then there's Gregory.
yes,
He
yes.
said
Hey,
hi from
Gregory.
Texas.
All right,
Thanks,
Texas in the
Gregory.
house. That's what I'm talking about.
Texas in the house. How are you? How's your Saturday going? Yes.
I love it. I
I
love
love
it.
it. I love it.
But I do definitely agree that we have to have those regular cadence meetings together between the
Mhm,
project management team and the change management team, and then also making sure that we have those SMEs on the team too.
mhm.
So I know we both love the change champions. We need those people. We need those people
Oh,
on the team. We need to make sure that they know exactly what their job is, and that we have the SMEs at the table as well, because I think that also helps to eliminate the potential for rework. I don't like
yeah.
rework because it costs
No.
money, right? It costs money. You have to start dipping into your contingency funds and things like that. And if we can just work together in the beginning, then we don't have to rework it in the middle.
Right, right. So, okay, so I'm thinking as you were
Okay.
talking, I was like, okay, if we're going to give our friends bullets, and I'm thinking
Hmm.
bullets, and thinking from a real world example of a project you and I have been on, right?
Hmm.
What are some of those things that you believe will create those problems, those, you know, I can name a few, and I'm gonna and
Okay.
you name a few. I'm thinking about
Okay.
it in bullets. So one, and this is for real world, not the change team and the project team working in silos, and there's no cadence, no meeting. We don't know what's going on over there, and they're not aware of what's going on with
Right.
us. And what happens? They start to um they're started to have a breakdown. A breakdown started to happen, and the
Right.
client now, instead of leaning more on the change team, they're leaning on their project team because
Right.
we're not really working together. So the breakdown is
Yeah.
is there. So that's bullet number one.
That's number
I was able
one.
to summarize
Yeah,
that. Okay.
it has to be a close collaboration in order for it to work. The meetings have to be there. We have to know what's going on the project side, and they need to know what's going on the change management side, because we need to come together and assess risk. Period.
Yeah. Yeah. What would be the second one, Ty?
Oh man, I think look, that's for me, that's number one. Okay, number two is just making sure that we have the right people at the table, right? If we have the
Oh, that's
table
a good
built,
one.
why are we leaving people out? Why are we afraid
Yeah,
to bring people to the table so that they can have a voice and we can help to relieve their fears? We relieve their fears by making sure that they understand the vision of the project. We're building their desire for the project, right? So we have to have
mm,
the right people at the table at all
that's
times.
Justin asked a question, but that is so true. And I'm gonna go to the third one. Oh
Okay.
my goodness, guys. Let me tell you something. If you do not create a timeline for your deliverables, you have your project deliverables and a timeline for your change deliverables early on, it's gonna be it's gonna be problems, right? We talk about it and we touch on it. Let me tell you something, guys. It is real. If you guys don't come together and put that plan, and I'm hoping that the project team, they have that their Gantt chart and they have that structure,
Right.
but we have to bring it together. And to come back again to point, the first thing we talk about is that's how we're going to make sure that the culture and the strategy align, right? Or
Right.
CM supposed to be that cultural ambassador and that cultural expert. So yeah, what did
Yeah.
Justin say? I couldn't see
He
that.
said, how about our favorite overlap?
Oh,
UAT and training when PMs and CMs are vying for the SME's time. That
wow.
is huge. Yes, because all of your resources are being pulled in not only the direction of the project, but also their operational work. Their operational work still
That's
has to
crazy.
go on. And now
Hmm.
you add testing, you add the training, and you add me asking them to be a change champion or a subject matter expert on this project. It is a lot. I definitely agree um,
Yeah.
with the idea of backfilling. If there is, if the company has the budget, you have to backfill these positions so that people can dedicate their
Right.
time to the project in a meaningful way. And then the work must continue on as well. So hire someone else if you can to do that work.
Right.
So, yeah,
And the
just
thing is, you know what come to mind too? When
mm-mm.
he said that the competing demands is, like you said, the SME. The
Hmm.
SMEs are experts. And when he said
Hmm.
SME, for those that doesn't know, it's subject matter experts.
Hmm.
Say we're implementing Oracle or whatever, Workday. We have those individuals that either are functional consultants, right? That are part of the implementation team, but then we also have these maybe some technical experts within the organization, or it might be individuals from different business units that we're going to turn them into SMEs.
Yeah.
So what's going on is like during UAT, we have those individuals heavily involved.
Yes.
And then we're trying to pull them for different meetings. We want them for training. It becomes really overwhelming, and I feel like a solution for that is a really good old school racy, racy, and like Ty said, if backfill is needed from those individuals' day-to-day work, so they
Yeah.
can come and be the SME and really be those subject matter experts, then we have to do that, right? But
Yeah.
a good old racy. Okay, so once I was on the project, and I love this because what I did was I didn't just create the racy, I created on that on the Excel exactly what the responsibility would be, what that looked like,
Oh,
what's
yeah.
accountability.
Hmm.
And then what that happened because it was an organization that runs it never goes to sleep. It was manufacturing. So the thing is, what do we do when we can't close down the operation and we need these people? So
Right.
we had to be very specific. I should say I had to be very specific on what do I mean by who is responsible for something? What do I mean by
Hmm.
accountable? And all those things. And then the organization had to look at who do we, what do we need to pull people from, or what temp agency or all of that. And that's important. And again, it was even a union environment. So, sometimes union people are not going to work over 40 hours now in these union
Right.
environments. So there are all those things that come to mind.
Right. I love it. So, Camille, I had a question for you when it comes to stakeholder analysis, right? Because that's also really huge. How do you manage stakeholder analysis? Do you only perform it one time? How often do you analyze your stakeholders throughout or for your projects?
Right. I call my touch point. Okay, so I do my in the Rittier methodology, early on, when it comes to researching the change, it's a lot of strategic alignment. So early on, I do a quick list of who my stakeholders are. Before I even
Mhm.
analyze them, I need to do a really quick list. And then I go into a deeper analyst session, which I look at my stakeholders. I look at how the change, what about the change that matters to them? I look at impact versus influence and all those things
Mhm.
while I'm mapping out my stakeholders. From that, I will create my readiness and communication plan. Now, I wouldn't say that I analyze, and of course, my impact assessment, right? After
Mhm.
my stakeholder analysis, because that is first. But what I do is what I call it is readiness assessment throughout the project. So
Yes.
although I have my stakeholder, it might be another line or depends on what tool I'm looking at. I can look at different heat maps from those stakeholder lists to see where they are in my readiness. And
Okay.
I monitor readiness based on, it depends on the system or the technology we're using. Some things that we're using, you might be able to gather data, but if one of those that we can't is just really interviewing or surveying and all those other things and making sure that we're reporting it out. And I utilize the change champions
Mhm.
completely. So send them out, activate them, and then bring them back. And through other projects, in the beginning, I do my stakeholder analysis, impact, training analysis, all those analysis. But in the different points of the project, and depending if it's an agile project or a waterfall project, what I do is that readiness checkpoints and those heat maps, and I report that out. So yeah, and of course, one more time before go live, we have to look at readiness.
Yes. Yes. So I wanted you to kind of speak on that point because what I want to let the audience know is that you have to make sure your stakeholders are engaged and active and all the things throughout the project. It's not just a one-time check-in where you analyze them and figure it out about the culture. Like that stuff has to actively go on throughout the project. And like you said, before go live as well. And I would probably say one time after go live, because
Yeah.
again, you have to ensure that the solution that we're putting in, I hate to call it a system, it has to be a solution that it is really meeting the needs of your organization and the people within it. So we have
Right.
Mr. Gregory. So give
It's
him
from
a
San
shout out.
Antonio.
Yes.
Yes. His Saturday is going great. It's really nice outside. I haven't been outside yet.
Yeah, it's nice here as well. I'm in Atlanta. I don't know where all my Georgia people are.
Right? Thank you, Gregory. You said that San Antonio is in here, and my Saturday is going great. How about y'all? And right on point with integration and change management and project team as well.
Woo, woo. All
I'm
right.
glad.
I love it. All right, Camille. So I think
Yes.
that is the end of our conversation for today. But I know we'll be back next week. So do me a favor, Camille, and let people know you mentioned your book, you mentioned your framework. Um, let
Yes.
everyone know how they
Oh,
can potentially pick
yeah.
up your book. Yeah.
My book is right here. It's on Amazon. It's the Rittier methodology. And my thing is the no BS guide to practical step-by-step navigation of change management. It's a great read. You guys should get it. You should get
Yes.
it. It's really good. It's really great. Yes, and then we can talk more about that framework. And Ty and I, we have some really great and amazing things, and we still ain't gonna reveal it yet. Plan and coming up for you guys.
She's so
Let me turn that
excited. She's so excited.
on. bringing these practical tips to our people. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah,
Guys,
I love it. I
thank
love it.
you guys for
Oh,
joining
Dominic.
us.
Hey, Dominic.
Hey, Dominic. Hey.
That's my Douglasville friend. Hey, Dominic.
Hey,
I love it. I love
man,
it.
it seemed like Saturdays are probably a little bit better. People are
Yeah,
home.
we got a little bit more
Yeah,
engagement, so that's good. So maybe we'll think about switching it over to Saturdays.
right. Justin, I'll find you after this. Send me just ping me on LinkedIn. I'll send you a signed copy, Justin. You're so sweet. Okay,
I
I got
love
you.
it. I
I
love
got
it.
you.
All right, y'all.
Yes,
Well,
Gregory, it's on Amazon. It's on
okay.
Amazon.
How do we get
Thank
your
you, guys.
link?
You guys are just
Yes.
awesome. Oh my gosh. The
Yes, we're
support.
gonna put it in our post as well. So we'll drop the link to your Amazon in the post. So after we get
Mhm.
finished with that, so we getting all great feedback. We love it. Thank you all. We
We
appreciate
love
it.
it, guys.
Yeah, this is truly our passion, and I hope that it's showing
Mhm.
up that way. But we do appreciate your time for a Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon, wherever you may be in the world. So, yes.
Love you guys. Love you guys. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you
Yeah.
next week.
Yeah. See you next week.
Bye.
Thanks, guys. Bye.